Super easy question. What's your name? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name's Lily. I'm based over in England, and I am 22, about to become 23. And yeah, I'm massively into sports and all the other things that come with that.
Awesome. So happy early birthday, first off. And then what is your favorite sport and why?
Sure. So you guys call it soccer over there, but it is football. Football to me, and it'll always be football. I grew up, watching it from the age of sort of, 7, 8 through to, I go every week to my team. So yeah, that's football's definitely my number one sport.
That's funny. I played soccer growing up, so I
Yeah.
can agree with you on that. You mentioned your favorite team. What's your favorite team?
Sure. So one of these people that a lot of people hate because I have two teams.
Mm,
So my dad was a massive Man United supporter before he passed away. So I've always had an affinity with Man United. But my local team, sort of Peterborough, are based around sort of 5-10 minutes down the road from me. So I sort of go every game home and away. Ironically, tonight is like the first. We've got a game tonight, and it's the first one I've missed in like over 2 years, I think. So.
you better have a good reason for missing.
Yeah, I had some work. To be fair, it's like, I don't know how you guys do it with your soccer over there, but like we have like cups.
Hmm.
So it's like the League Cup, that it's sort of the one that not many people pay attention to. And we're playing the team. So we went into the playoffs last year to get promoted, and they stopped us getting promoted. So I'm a little bit like, I don't want to step foot in that stadium ever again.
Yeah,
So
no, that's understandable. I get that.
yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you for sharing. Let's dive right in. Tell me, how much have you made since joining FanFunded?
So I actually, ironically, had my first payout come through today, and in US dollars worth, 3,345, I think was the exact amount, or to English pounds, £2,700.
Awesome. So, how long have you been on the platform?
Sure. So I joined the platform probably about 2 months ago now.
Okay.
So had a few failed attempts, I won't lie. I was sort of being a little bit reckless, and putting too much on certain bets that I was confident on. And then I sort of took a step back and was like, no, I'm gonna play it safe. And yeah, it's worked. And yeah, I've had this funded account now, yeah, 5 weeks. So
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, 5 weeks and like 3 grand. That's pretty good.
amazing, right? I said it to someone earlier. I was like, as much as it's amazing, and as much as I want to keep going, I'm now content. And anything that's sort of like in the future is like a bonus almost.
Hmm.
And I'm sort of, no matter what happens, I'm really happy. Ultimately, my investment's paid off. So
That's awesome. That's exactly what we want to hear. So,
exactly.
can you provide me any insights into your history with sports picking before you joined FanFunded?
Yeah, sure. So when I turned 18, I knew I was going to gamble. It was one of them where it was a little bit like sort of sports gambling running our family. I knew it was going to happen. And to be fair, I had bad experiences with gambling. It probably, I was a little bit reckless with it, and sort of was a little bit, trigger happy with bets, etc. So from the age of sort of after turning sort of 19, 20, I've sort of taken a 2 year gap away from gambling. And actually, it wasn't until FanFunded came along that I was like, do you know what? I want to dive back into this because the risk value is so much less. And I was like, I want to put back into practice my sports picking, because my sports picking was always really good. It was just that when I won a bet, I would be stupid with then going and blowing the money on something else. Whereas
Hmm.
now you have to, the sports sort of manage, the bet management side of it is so important.
So, what I'm hearing from you is that kind of the platform has almost made you a better picker because of the challenges that you have to go through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
100%.
elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. I think so. I always used to be really good at sports picking, and I would, do well on sports picking, but there's no risk management system to that. If you
Mm.
go onto your sports book and win £2,000 bet, there's no repercussions almost if you then lose that £2,000 bet, right?
Other than to
Whereas
yourself. Yeah.
other than to yourself, of course, and losing losing that money, right? Whereas discussions now is you lose your account if you're reckless, and you then lose whatever future income. And ultimately, like I say, my investment, sort of the £3,000. If I'd been reckless and stupid, well, A, I would have avoided the player score, so I wouldn't have been paid out anyway, even if I had one, and B, I would have lost the account. So there's no benefit to it, and I think that's the mindset now that I'm in. It is no, play it safe, do your 1 or 2% bets, and appreciate that you have sort of 30 days and that you don't need to win it all on day one.
That's awesome. I love that. That's like the best explanation that I've heard so far. So I love the fact that the platform, while it's giving you an opportunity to bet higher, it's also teaching you to bet smarter and be a little bit more reserved with those. That's amazing. So let's continue. What features or aspects of FanFunded attracted you the most?
To be honest, it was more the ability to bet everything that I wanted to bet without having to put up my own money. And I get that's the whole point of the platform, right? But it's the features that you guys are integrating, with the cash out now being available before the bets, and certain other things, and more sports sort of football betting options being available across the world now. It sort of outranks anything else that the competitors that you guys sort of have out there. I almost feel like you can't even class them as competitors because it's a different level. I could go to someone else, but they don't have that football league, and they don't have that option. And the fact that all of those options are there with FanFunded means that I'm not restricted in what I'm betting.
Yeah, I love to hear that. So do you place picks on anything outside of football?
Yeah, so the football season, I know you guys have the MLS over there, which has sort of been going during our off season, but sort of football for us is only really just starting. The Premier League's back this weekend. My team, we played our first game over the weekend. So sort of the last couple of months, I've not been able to bet on football until sort of this week. So I've really been hammering out sort of the baseball, obviously when the NBA was on, there's all the finals and the hockey over there as well. Sort of been bashing them out. What was really good was that when I used to do the sports picking back a couple of years ago, American sports was always something that I was quite hot on and would prefer betting on it. So that to me is, I actually prefer to a degree betting on sort of American football, baseball, hockey than I do to football over here. I just find it easier to get the information on the teams and everything like that is more easily accessible than I find.
That's fascinating. I haven't heard that one before. So we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but just to reiterate it, since joining FanFunded, how has your picking strategy changed?
Yeah, it's definitely become more reserved. It's it's a lot more now. How would you say? You always had the bets you fancied, I guess, rather than the bets that you expected to win. And I think now my sort of strategy is, unless you obviously you can never know it's going to win, right? That's part of the fun. But unless you're sort of 80, 90% that's going to win, then I won't place that bet, and I'll wait for the next day to place that bet. The prime example was, there was a game last night in baseball, the Yankees played the White Sox, and everyone's looking at it and going, oh, it's a dead cert for the Yankees. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, but fatigue, they've just played quite an important couple of games before. This game, they may sort of take their eye off the ball a little bit, and then they go and lose 12-2, and everyone's like, I'm gobsmacked. I expected them to win by 5 or 6 runs. Whereas for me, it's a little bit like, no, I'm a little bit, for the odds that are available, it's not worth the risk. So that's where my head's at, in terms of, I'm not going to go and take a pick that's, not even over evens, as we call it here in the UK with our odds. If it's not going to generate me a decent profit return for what I expect to happen, I won't take the bet. I'll wait for the next day.
Very cool. Wait, so in England they call it evens and we call it odds?
We do things by fractions with our odds. So an evens bet would be 1-1. So I think you guys have like plus 100.
Yeah.
Like I can't get on board with. So I was so happy when you guys introduced like the decimal odds, because I just can't get on board with the American odds. It just doesn't work.
Don't you just wish with some things that we'd just be like on a universal standard at this point? Yeah,
right. It's really weird, because I was speaking to somebody who also is on the platform that I get on well with, and like we were talking, he's just had a payout as well, and it was quite similar amounts to mine, but he was like, oh, I've lost nearly 30% of it to taxes. And I was like, what do you mean taxes? And obviously you guys pay taxes on your sort of your gambling profits. That's not a thing in the UK. That payout that's in my bank account is 100% mine. So
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
I'm not envious of you, so to speak, on that front.
Well, I am definitely envious of you in that regard.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So would you be open to sharing your dashboard or just talking about some of the picks that you've placed? Maybe
Yeah,
some
sure.
exciting ones that you've had?
Yeah, sure. I'd rather, yeah, I'll happily walk you through some of them. So I do a lot of no run first inning on
Okay.
baseball. I won last night on the Dodgers, so I had 3% on that. I think in your guys' odds, it was like, I'm not even going to try and do your odds because I don't even know how it works.
That's fair.
It
That's
was,
fair.
I think it was 1.9 or 1.8, I think, in terms of decimals. So obviously, I think that returned sort of 2.7 units. But yeah, a lot of no run first innings. Had a soccer bet last night. Sorry, now I've reverted to you. I had a football bet last night, sort of Burnley versus Luton in our championship we have over here. So I took Luton to win, I think that was 2.3 last night, and that won. Obviously, I've had a few losers as well. I had a few losers last night. I've had two losing bets today, but it's all the nature of the beast. And ultimately,
Hmm.
this is why value for me, and getting the odds to be decent is so important, because you can win free bets and lose free bets and still and be in the minus. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is if your odds aren't good enough and you're betting too many sort of 1.5 bets, well, you're going to be down in the long run if you're not being successful with your picks. So I sort of try and aim for anything sort of around the 2 decimal or above to make sure that you're getting some value.
And that is amazing advice to anybody who's joining the platform. So that leads me into my final question. For individuals that are considering joining FanFunded, what's a piece of advice that you would give to them?
Do you know what? I think for me, invest in the platform. So my account, I had the one that's funded at the moment is a 10,000 3-step account. I'm about to buy another account because I've just maxed out my profits for this month now. So my next month's withdrawal is sort of maxed out. So I'm going to buy another account. But I see a lot of people saying, I'm only gonna buy, say, a 1,000, say, Blitz account, and then they question why their payouts limited. And if you really believe that you can make a return off the platform, invest into it. Maybe try the Blitz accounts first. Maybe go and buy a 1,000 or a 2,000 Blitz account so that you get a good use of the platform, understand how it works, go through the fact that you're going to win bets, you're going to lose bets, get a good feeling of it, test yourself, and then go and spend what you can afford to spend to go and buy a 2-step account like I'm just about to go and do because the platform has worked for me. So I'm going to go buy a 2-step account rather than going and buying a Blitz or a 3-step account.
Lily, that is the best advice that I have heard, and I'm sure our viewers are going to absolutely love it. So thank you so much for giving us all of your knowledge. And if you have any questions from any of us, feel free to continue reaching out to us. But I'm sure you're going to make up for your losses this morning by later
Yeah,
this afternoon with some winnings, hopefully. But thank you again so much for joining me.
my pleasure. Thank you very much.